is Seema, and I am back with a new lesson on character idioms. Well, a way a person behaves toward you tells you a lot about his character, right? Well, there are some people who are so much fun to be around with because they've got good character. And then there are some people who are so annoying because, well, they're just simply mean. They don't really have good character, or they haven't developed good character. So this lesson is going to teach you how to refer to people using idioms based on how they behave or based on what their character is. Okay, let's look at a few of them. The first one is armchair critic. Okay, now visualize a really high armchair, okay, and a critic, someone who just sits on it and criticizes or makes comments. Well, that's what an armchair critic is. A person who criticizes or comments about pretty much any situation without even helping. So I know a friend of mine who had a supervisor, her manager, who would keep telling everyone that, this is not right and that is not right, but he wouldn't lift a finger to help in anything what he thought wasn't right. He could have come in, stepped in and, helped the situation, but he didn't because he was an armchair critic. He thought it is best to sit on his high chair and just comment or criticizing without helping. And we have the next idiom, which is called a busybody. Well, there are some people who are genuinely busy, and then there are some people who are busy interfering in other people's lives. So a busybody is basically someone who interferes in other people's lives. Well, busybodies are basically people who always want to know everything about everyone. Don't you hate people like that? Well, my grandmother, she is a busybody because she always wants to know everything about everyone's dating lives, like as if it was her business. So a busybody is people who are really busy, but busy interfering in other people's lives. Okay. The next one is cheapskate. Okay, well, the word is kind of indicative of what the meaning might be. So a cheapskate is someone who hates to spend money. Now, these people are that breed of people who hate to spend money when it is actually required to spend money. So you could say something like Tim gifted his mother a $5 gift for her birthday. Well, he is a real cheapskate, isn't he? Because, well, his mother's birthday comes once in a year, and he is supposed to gift her something. She is his mother after all, isn't she? But, well, he's a cheapskate, so he won't spend more than $5. So when you go to a restaurant, don't go with a cheapskate, yeah? Okay, so a cheapskate, another word for it, could also be someone who is very stingy, but a better known idiom would be a cheapskate. And the next idiom to talk about a person's character is a worrywart. What is a worrywart? A worrywart is someone who, well, as the word says, worries all the time. These people are extensively anxious all the time. They're always worried about something or the other. My mother is a worrywart because, well, she keeps worrying about what I'm doing, where I'm going. So unless I'm home, she is not relaxed. She calls me 10 times on the phone every day. My mother is a real worrywart. She's very anxious and worries all the time about a certain thing. Okay, that's what a worrywart is. And then we've got down to earth. Well, people who are down to earth are, well, it's the opposite of being very unrealistic or really up there in the clouds. So down to earth people are very realistic. They are very sensible. And, you know, they're very humble. They have a lot of humility. Now, believe me, these are the best kind of people to be with, because they've got it all sorted out for themselves, okay? When they're there, you know, everything is pretty peaceful. Everything is, you know, minus all the chaos and the drama. So you can say that everyone loves to work with Janet because she's a down-to-earth person. You know, she's very reasonable, very realistic, and of course, very sensible, okay? And we've got behind the times, okay? Well, we are now in a certain time, in a certain age. So if you are behind the times, what would that mean? It would mean someone who is very old-fashioned. Or shall I say someone who does not want to adopt. So they won't adopt to new ways of doing things. Well, my dad, my father, well, he is behind the times because he would not like to use a smartphone. He still uses a push-button phone. I know that's kind of weird, but he is behind the times a little bit. Okay, well, he's behind the times a lot. Okay, so behind the times is basically referring to people who are old-fashioned and who don't really want to give up their old ways. They want to stick to what they have been doing all the while. Well, I've got 6 more character idioms for you. Let's move on to the next one, which is a go-getter. Well, a go-getter is someone who is out there ready to go and get something, yeah? So a go-getter could be someone who is very energetic, someone who's very ambitious. And of course, these people are inevitably very active. So these are people who look at something, they want something, and they go there and just get it. So you can say something like, Ron is a go-getter when it comes to his dating life. So Ron is a kind of a guy who will always be there all the time for all the parties. He will always try to hook up with as many women as possible because he is a go-getter. He's trying to get the best girl that is out there. So he's not going to be laid back, chilled out. He's going to do a lot of hunting, yeah? So he is a go-getter, someone who is very ambitious, someone who is very active and energetic. A go-getter can also apply to your work life if you are very ambitious. It can also apply to your studies if you want to do very well academically, okay? And the next character idiom is a know-it-all. Well, what kind of a person is a know-it-all? Well, a know-it-all is a very negative idiom or a very negative phrase you use to speak sarcastically about a person who is, you know, oversmart. Such people are called smart Alecs. These are people who won't listen to you because they think they know everything. These are people who have their own set of things in their mind and they don't want to accept correction or listen to anything that you've got to say. So you can say something like, Mr. Smith is a know-it-all. There is no point in correcting him. Or my sister is a know-it-all. She won't listen to you because apparently she thinks she is very smart. She's a smart aleck. You can't correct her. Yeah, so this is a negative word or a negative idiom with a negative meaning, obviously. And the next one is to be set in one's ways. Well, what kind of a character would a person have if he or she is set in one's ways? This person is someone who is very, very stubborn. Okay, now, have you ever heard of people who you've got to really tell them a lot of times to do a certain thing and they will never change? They will do what they want to do, and they will do it exactly the way they've been doing it because they are set in their ways. They don't want to change because they're very stubborn by nature, right? So you can say something like, I teach my little brother how to drive a car, but he is set in his own ways. He will drive the car the way he wants to. He won't listen to, what I tell him about traffic rules, about how to stop at the right signals. So he is very stubborn. He is set in his own ways. There is no point in, telling him how to do something because he's going to stick to what he is doing and the way he is doing it. Okay, and the next one is a slime ball. Again, this is not a very good word. Don't use it to anyone's face, okay, because you might get beaten. But a slime ball is someone who is a disgusting person. Someone who deserves to be hated. So I can say something like, Sean is a real slime ball. He has cheated on his wife multiple times, right? Because that's a disgusting thing to do. I mean, you wouldn't want to cheat on your wife, but he's a slime ball. He deserves to be hated because he's done a very bad thing. Okay, so when someone does something which is, very difficult to forgive or something really, really bad, you call them a slime ball. Okay, and the next one is a party pooper. Well, what is a poop? Well, when you go, in the morning and when you take a dump, okay, what comes out is poop, right? So someone who poops on a party is someone who spoils the fun because they are very negative by means of their attitude or their actions. So maybe you've got a friend of yours who gets, way too drunk at a party and, just gets into a fight every time you go, out with that person. And you don't want to take him ever because you say that he's a party pooper. He always spoils the fun. So you've been having a good time, but there he is, again, getting drunk and making a really big deal out of everything. So he gets into a fight, he gets into a brawl. He is a real party pooper. And our last expression, our last idiom to describe someone's character is a social butterfly. Well, we all know how a butterfly is, right? It flits from one flower to the other, and just goes on and on and on, right? So a social butterfly is a person who is just like a butterfly, who can move or who loves to talk or socialize with several people. So these are extroverts, as you may call them. They are not people in a party. Well, they are the people who will be seen with almost everyone. They know everyone in the party because they've been flitting like a butterfly from one person to another one to another one. So that's it from me on this lesson on character idioms. I hope you found them interesting and I hope you can use them when you are talking about people's characters. Well, I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.